Hi, my name is Frank Schaefer, and when the New York Times did a profile of me a few years ago after I'd written a memoir called Crazy for God, they said that I had been evangelical royalty that had betrayed the evangelical movement when leaving the religious right and coming out, as it were, as a liberal or moderate or democratic activist standing up against evangelicals and the bullying they did of women, gays, black people, and others through a whole series of books I've written since. But today I'd like to mention something. You know, we've had 2 mass shootings within 24 hours. And at a time like this, it's time to be honest about why these shootings are occurring. Yes, the gun lobby plays a part. Yes, the NRA are like rabid dogs somehow let loose in our midst. Yes, the Republican Party has enabled these people by taking their dollars and by being lick-spittle sycophants who have gone along with it. Yes, Donald Trump has done nothing to improve the climate by his racist rants that are now repeated exactly by some of these mass shooters as they imitate them in their own manifestos before killing people. But there is another culprit, and given my background in the evangelical world and my father, Francis Schaefer, who has been called the father of the evangelical anti-abortion movement, and our connections with people like both President Bush's and Ronald Reagan and Gerald Ford and others, I think that someone in my position should just say it. It is the evangelical white voter in America who has put Trump in power, who has been the gun lobby, who has kowtowed to the NRA, who has bought into their paranoid fantasies about needing to arm ourselves with weapons of mass destruction. I'm not talking about hunting rifles and a shotgun or two. It is my people from which I came, that underclass, that underbelly of America, that sordid, ignorant group of people who believe in Noah's Ark but won't believe in climate change, who believe that Donald Trump was sent by God, this philandering, thrice-married person who sits in the Oval Office paying off porn stars when not making racist tweets. Let's call it like it is. The white evangelical Trump voter is the enemy of the American people. Think about their leaders. Jerry Falwell Jr., who I knew when he was a snotty-nosed kid, and I used to go with my father to Jerry Falwell's church and actually preach from the pulpit twice there. This little prick who's grown up to be the head of a right-wing university, quote-unquote university, waved around a handgun that he pulled out of his own waistband from the pulpit of a school meeting room and asked his students to arm in case they, the Muslims, come here. These are the folks that justify these killings. These are the folks that gave us Donald Trump. These are the only consistent block of voters in America, white evangelical voters, that keep the Republicans, the party of the Tea Party and the others, in power year after year after year after year, kissing the butts of the murderous scum in the NRA, who have insisted that somehow gun rights include multi-bullet clip magazines, who have included in their gun rights military-style weapons that my son, who is a Marine and fought in Afghanistan, is shocked to see people carrying around in this country in open carry parades, when in boot camp, if you were that careless with a firearm, you would be court-martialed. So let's name what it is today. Every drop of blood shed in a mass shooting should be smeared on the door of an evangelical church, where pastors have stood up and talked about the pro-life movement being so important that we vote for a philandering bastard like Donald Trump, accused of rape, and still go along with it, where idiots like Jerry Falwell Jr. stand waving firearms from the pulpit of a chapel and tell his own students to arm. These folks, these white evangelicals, are not a religion. They are now a Trump personality cult. And they alone are the bloc that keeps giving us these Republican lickspittle NRA servants. And until the evangelical voter is overwhelmed by the sensible majority of Americans who are not racists, who do not think that marching around with AK-47s and AR-15s is a good idea, who do not think that being pro-life means that you have to look the other way with a rapist in the White House, until we rise up in 2020 and overwhelm them once and for all for the last time, sending this white supremacist vote to the hell they deserve to be in. We will continue to have these mass shootings. And I have one word for you. Enough is enough. My name is Frank Schaefer.